The Rockets had 2 games this week. Let's talk about the 2 games first, because since this being the halfway point, this means that we are where we are, after the trade deadline up to this point, going into the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. So the first game this week was on Monday when we played the Knicks. I was actually at that game. Nice. Remember, I went with Adam and them boys. Mm-hmm. We was actually at that game, and the Rockets ended up winning 105-103. Did you see that game?
Man, I watched some of it. I felt like it was a little flat, but the game was pretty good, though. We
was winning the game for most of the game.
Yeah.
And the Knicks been on a hot streak, so it was cool to be winning that game. But at the end of the game, there was a controversial call where Aaron Holiday is pulling up for a 3 that could win the game, that could close it out, right after Jalen Brunson pulled a mid-range jumper on him to tie the game up. Yeah. They thought that he ended up taking a 3, and they called a foul on the play. After review, they couldn't. After review, at the end of the game, they admitted that it wasn't a foul and it shouldn't have been called. But at the time, they reviewed the call and they couldn't take away the call. They were reviewing just to see how much time was left on the clock. Yeah. So ultimately, this game ends with Aaron Holiday being able to shoot 2 free throws.
Yeah.
And close the game out 105-103. So the significance of this game is that apparently I heard Brian Windhorst say that the guy who made this call is the same guy who missed the controversial call last season where LeBron gets fouled by Jason Tatum at the end of a huge Lakers-Celtics game. You know how big that rivalry is.
Yeah, huge.
He gets fouled at the end of the game, and the Celtics end up winning this game just by a hair because that foul call wasn't made.
Wait, LeBron on Jason Tatum?
Jason Tatum on LeBron. Bron goes to the rim, gets hacked real hard, stops him from hitting the layup, and they don't call it. This is the same referee that also made the call in this instance.
But you think it was a foul?
Which one?
LeBron, the Jason Tatum on LeBron.
That was definitely a foul. Jason Tatum said it was a foul. He knows it was a foul.
Okay, I want to make it's a big deal.
That's just a missed call. Yeah. But when you start to have a history of this kind of shit, then it lends itself to do we need reformation of how they're doing, how they're refereeing these games, or do they just need to pick better?
Nah, I think it's just, we're all just human errors, but that's a big deal. In a game like that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
mean as a Rockets fan, I'm glad I got the dub. And it's a regular season game. They up in arms about this, and really, I don't think it's that big a deal because they obviously gonna be in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they set for it, and I don't know. They sent a petition to the league over this. I don't know what came of it. I don't know what the status of it is now. And I don't know how that works. What, are they going to ask to replay the game because that foul not being called does not mean they about to win the game?
We got to talk to somebody. We're on a hot streak and y'all just messed it up. We got to talk to somebody about this.
Well, in this game, I think they played well. Jalen Brunson finishes with 27 points, and Josh Hart gave him 17 points and 11 rebounds. I saw Dante DiVincenzo, who was stepping in for injured players. I can't remember who's injured on this team, but Dante DiVincenzo was letting it fly.
Was it for the Knicks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the dude I was looking at. I'm trying to find my dang notes.
23 points.
Yeah. Okay.
He put up 23. On our side, we were playing without Van Fleet and Cam Whitmore. Jalen Green went 4 for 15 on field goals and 0 for 6 from three-pointer. Dylan Brooks, though, went 6 from 7 on three-pointers, which kind of made up for the threes that Jalen Green wasn't providing at the time. So ultimately, it was a decent game. I was glad to be there. We was in the Michelob Ultra Suite having the time of our lives in that for real.
I'm pretty sure y'all missed some stuff. Y'all was in there having fun, huh?
Low key. Then the second game this week was on Wednesday when the Rockets played the Grizzlies. And we ended up losing that game 113-121.
Yeah.
And that shit was terrible.
Yeah, garbage.
We should be winning the game without John Moran. Not only was John Moran not there, but they were playing without several starters. We had 25 missed three-pointers in that game. Like, you remember when D'Antoni was coaching the Rockets and they used to just let it fly from three?
Yeah. green light.
That's what this looked like.
Yeah.
They missed 25 3-pointers in this game. 14 was missed between Jabari Smith Jr. and Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
So Dylan Brooks, after Monday's game going 6 for 7, ends up teaming up with Jabari Smith Jr. to miss 14 altogether.
I think that's kind of our problem, honestly. You live
Too
by
many
the
threes?
Yeah, live by the 3, die by the 3. That's my big deal.
You would think that would get changed with good veteran leadership. Maybe that's the difference between having Van Fleet on the floor and not having him. Because Van Fleet puts up his own amount of threes.
Yeah.
But I feel like his threes don't cost you the game. And if he's not hitting, he'll stop shooting.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What I do know is that the Rockets seem to stay packed going into the trade deadline.
Yeah.
All we did was acquire what's the big man's name?
Steven
Adams.
Yeah.
We got Steven Adams from the Grizzlies before the trade deadline for Victor Oladipo and 3 second-round picks.
Oladipo never want to stay here.
No, I mean
he's just trying to get here to get out.
And I don't like guys here that don't want to be here. So
we don't want no more fat suits. Leave the fat suits at home.
Man, I remember when they traded James Harden and Victor Oladipo came around the first time.
Yeah.
He started taking all these crazy shots like he was about to fill the void. James Harden left himself. I was just like, man, what is this guy doing?
I mean, what could the Rockets do right now better if you were the GM? GM JC's got ideas. What we need to do?
I got one big idea. Now we got to be done acquiring all these assets.
Okay.
It's time to put a package together for the best player that becomes available.
Okay.
Is what we need to do. We need to get ready, evaluate the young guys and see who's gonna fit here and who's not. Mm-hmm. And then package them up for a guy who fills the void, an established dude, somebody that's 28, 29,
okay.
in the middle of their prime, and you know exactly what he's going to bring to the table. I don't know who that is this season, but I know at the end of the season there's going to be a lot of free agents. Of course, there's nothing we can do at this point because the trade deadline is over. Mm-hmm. Who you have on your team is who you have outside of free agent signings at this point. And nobody's on the free agent market that should be on the team right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's the next superstar. We don't have a superstar. We got young guys who aim to be superstars. We even got Jalen Green who plays as if he is a superstar.
Yeah.
And he puts up good numbers. But if we was able to get a guy like a Jaylen Brown,
okay,
you know, like give me a guy that we know what he gonna bring to the table. The Clippers got several of those guys on their team right now. Mm-hmm. The Lakers got a couple of those guys, some veterans that you could really get from them and you know turn into the next thing. They ended up getting Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie is one of those guys.
Yeah.
So
you look at the roster though, bro. It's like Jabari, Jayshawn Tate, you know, Fred VanVleet. Like you said, I don't see a superstar on the squad. So it's funny to say we kind of have similar takes on that, but I'm agreeing with you, bro. Like they need a superstar.
Yeah, a guy you just know what he's gonna bring to the table.
As long as we don't get, I'm gonna be honest with you, Şengün's got to stay. He's the only person. He's off limits for me. I do agree with the young guys need to go, but Şengün's got to stay.
In my own opinion, I don't want to trade Şengün. I don't want to trade. I don't want to trade Green, but depending on the player we getting back. Green might be on the table. I heard he was he's dating Drea Michelle. She like twice his age or whatever. She's still bad though. So shout out to that guy.
He doing something. He doing something right now.
But if I could just one last point. When it comes down to the guys that I don't want to see traded,
yeah, that's what I want.
Şengün.
Okay.
I like VanVleet. I'm not sure we got too big an upgrade we could get at that position. And Jalen Green. Jabari Smith Jr., I don't know how long you wait for him to reach his potential. Mm-hmm. He's getting better each year. But I don't know. We thought he was going to be the number 1 overall pick the year he got drafted and waited until the day of the draft to drop down to 3rd. Mm-hmm. And they ended up taking Paolo Banchero, number 1 overall, and that dude balling.
Yeah,
like he's clearly better than what Jabari Smith Jr. is right now, and so I'm wondering what's the trajectory here.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for me not saying shoot that old Jabari.
He gonna let it fly.
That's what I'm saying. Right? I mean, Him
And he a
Jalen
good
Green.
3-point shooter. It's
Yeah.
just when he's missing, it starts to cost us because we don't have much else.
We put a lot of stock in Jalen Green, so I agree. I don't think he needs to go anywhere. I don't know. I like Jabari though. I do like Jabari, but I agree. I'm agreeing on all that. Fred VanVleet, I don't know. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong there, but I think we could, if he had to get rid of him or we had to go somewhere, I'm not tripping. But I do like him on the squad. Right now, he's holding the squad together. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because we just said they lost 2 games.
Dylan Brooks is real good for us too. I was upset when they signed Dylan Brooks for as much as they signed him for, and left Grant Williams out there on in the free agent market. But then Dallas picked up Grant Williams just before the trade deadline. They didn't trade him. They ended up cutting him, and so they cited him not having. No, that can't be right because they had just signed him. It's likely they did trade him. Maybe I got the information wrong.
Yeah.
But they let him go and cited his attitude on the team. There was a lot of teammates that didn't like him.
Yeah.
So now in hindsight, I'm wondering if the best decision was made because of the reasons that he was put out of Dallas and what Dylan Brooks is doing for the Rockets.
Dylan Brooks is not creating problems in the locker room. Can't have problems in the locker room.
Right.
I mean, he is doing this to the cameras.
Riding through the city, yeah, you know I keep my dime. Riding